I mean, if you ever have something that you want to say, like blah, 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 blah,
Bow!
you can throw it at them, yeah. Welcome to the Thoughts on Digital podcast, ideas and insight about the ever-changing world of digital marketing. Welcome to the show. I'm Adam Levine, and today I'm sitting down with Rob Spierenburg, co-founder and CEO of All Things Media, and today we're talking about NRF. So, how you doing, Rob?
No complaints. Excited to, end out the year, start a new year, and excited to go to NRF.
Yeah, I guess I should mention this for anyone who doesn't know. NRF is National Retail Federation,
That's
and
right.
it's the largest retail expo in the country, and that happens, once a year?
Once a year in January. Yep.
Yeah. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the second time ATM's been invited back as a vendor in the...
presenter in their innovation lab.
In the innovation lab, right.
So they saw some of the work that we're doing in kind of the VR and mixed reality space, and they really like what they saw, and asked us to exhibit at their in their kind of innovation lab, where you show off all the new cool technology that's coming to the retail space.
So why is it important that someone who's in this industry go to something like NRF?
I mean, retail, you see it in the news all the time. It's changing. The digital transformation that's been going on for the past 20 years has really started to come to a head, and the most dramatic effect that we're seeing in our everyday lives is its effect on retail. You hear every year that online sales are going up, in-store sales are going down. You're seeing stores close, and malls having trouble, and all of these kind of brick and mortar locations changing. So that transformation is really happening now, and if you're in retail, it's a good thing to know what's going on in the space. And with all of the crazy transformation that's happening in the retail space, it's just good to be at something like this and get a temperature on what's coming next and what's going on.
You were there last year. Do you think that there's, a bit of a swing at all back towards some brick and mortar? Because I know there was a large push towards online, and everyone flocked there for years, but I mean,
a little bit, I think what's happening is it's typical, right? Something new comes along and everybody embraces it. And so, oh my gosh, this is going to be the big thing, and this is where everything's going. And there's this dramatic push in that direction, but then there's always kind of a swing back, and I think we're seeing that in certain industries, not all industries. I mean, certain things, you're more apt to buy online. You need a plug adapter, you need something simple and basic, and what you're getting. And toys, obviously, is a big one, because what your kid wants. They ask for it on their list. Why are you going to go to a store and battle through finding it when you can go on Amazon and get it right there? Sure. But in things like the clothing space, specifically with luxury brands, I think that you are seeing a little bit more of an emphasis on the physical retail store. Especially in those industries where service has been at a premium, where people like to feel catered to.
Right.
Because that's one thing that I think digital hasn't done really well. It's great when you're trying to get a lower cost and find the best deal, but it's not always great when you're trying to find the right thing.
Right. It kind of speaks to, figuring out consumer behavior and realizing, that people want to be catered to personally.
Yeah.
Right. They want that personal interaction.
And that's a big part of what our focus has been over the past however many years. There's always going to be something new and cool. There's always going to be some cool new technology that's going to blow people's minds and get people excited. But, new technology and cool new experiences doesn't always equal brand awareness, or doesn't always create that human connection.
Sure.
With the brand. Traditionally, in the past, brands have kind of lived or died by their sales force and by the people that work at the brand. And I think today's no different. I think it's just a matter of finding a way to maintain that connection between, through new mediums like digital technology.
Right. Okay. I mean, I think it brings up a good point, having that connection, because I've heard you say this before, that's sort of the missing component in digital is having that extra layer of human connection. Because when you go online, you buy that product and you don't really think about the human connection, like you said, it's good for, something that you already know you want. It's good for something that's maybe cheap and it doesn't matter. But when it's a meaningful purchase, you want to be able to discuss that with somebody,
Yeah.
and not just reading a review.
Well, I think there's always been a difference between, shopping for a sale and for the best price,
Right.
and shopping for the right item. And I think that, shopping for the best price has always taken place at like bargain places or, Black Friday and those types of things. That's when you go shopping for the best price. That's what led to the rise of things like Best Buy and Walmart and Target, was a better price. But there's always been that component that's finding the right thing and trusting in the purchase. And that's always, been something that's more traditionally done by people to people connections, and I think digital is very quickly, eliminating anybody that's trying to compete with it on sales, like, just the best deal.
Yeah.
But when you talk about, the right thing and kind of knowing what you want or finding that perfect gift, I think there's still a huge place in retail for that brick and mortar experience and for people, because we trust people.
Sure. Yes, that's the idea.
We trust people, and people are what define brands.
Yeah, and I wonder. So that's an interesting segue, because I was thinking about, how AI is starting to become,
More and more intelligent, scarily intelligent.
yeah, but in ways that are harder and harder to detect. And I'm wondering if there's going to be that sort of, getting over that uncanny valley hump where you're not sure if you're talking to a machine.
I think they're already there. I think you've probably talked to a machine this year and haven't realized. I think you've called a support line and had no idea. I think that's probably already happened to you. I know that it's already happening.
Right.
But I think it's kind of the same thing, right? Certain types of interactions can be facilitated by a machine, right? If you're calling somebody to talk about an order that didn't get delivered and you need to track it down and whatever, and you want the person on the other side to be cordial and nice and responsive and have all the information at their fingertips, that's something that AI can do. If you want to establish a personal connection with someone and a feeling of trust with someone, that's something that I think will always be required, that human connection. And so, it's on us, it's on retailers and on us as digital developers to find a way to really enable that connection, to find the right places to focus on AI and digital tech to totally facilitate the engagement, and to find the right places where a human connection is necessary and give better and more efficient ways for that connection to be made.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. So now that you've been to NRF once before, is there anything you're kind of looking forward to this time around? I know we're exhibiting.
Yeah,
right?
well, past NRF, it was a little bit, in the past it's been a little bit crazy because we're exhibiting, so, a lot of our effort goes into that. But I did very much like walking the innovation lab. I think that's really interesting, just to see what other people are doing and get a sense for where things are going and what's possible now and what will be possible in the future.
Right.
The sessions are great, and looking at the sessions coming up for this year, there's some really main tracks or main topics that I think are coming through in this NRF, and you can always kind of tell what's coming to the forefront of the industry just by going through the schedule and reading all of the talks and seeing where the focus is. You'll see a lot of mixed reality. There's some really interesting tracks. Obviously, we're going to be there presenting like multi-user VR for kind of retail and like sales experiences, which is something that's coming to the forefront pretty quick, I think, here in the next couple of years. There's a lot on artificial intelligence, a fair amount. And I'd be interested, the Microsoft track on intelligence and retail is an interesting one that I definitely want to see. And I think there's a lot more now of a focus. It's become less of how do we maintain brick and mortar sales because online's killing us. I think it's becoming less about that and becoming more about how do we fuse the online and the brick and mortar experience.
Sure, an integration.
To make this kind of symbiotic environment, because there's still going to be brick and mortar one way or another.
Yep.
The question is what's it going to be and how do we integrate that with the digital to make it kind of this seamless shopping experience. I know that Walt Disney Co. is going to be there speaking on kind of that immersive digital experiences and shopping experiences. I'm very interested to see their take on it, because if that's one thing that they do really well and always have.
Yeah.
And kind of this focus on the experiential shopping experience, and kind of tied into digital seems to be one of the other big themes in NRF that I'm excited to see.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ideas always go further when they're shared. If you enjoyed the show, leave us a review on iTunes or drop us a comment on YouTube. Let us know what you think about today's topic. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week.